Well, thanks for coming out, first of all, guys. I was in Buell 2002. Was here for a while, switched my major a lot, didn't know what I wanted to do. So, it's okay. But I was in this class. I mean, I knew a little bit about, my brother was an entrepreneur. I have 4 brothers, and we all work for ourselves. And my sister always worked for herself. She was an amazing mom. That's an entrepreneur in itself. So, but we were all entrepreneurs, and well, we all are now. But we watched our older brother do it, and since he's successful at it, we were like, okay, I guess we can try this because he did it. Why can't we? You know. And so right now we have that one store, and then my second one opens up in March, and at the Thanksgiving Point exit by the Popeyes and Del Taco, and then a third one opens up in Spanish Fork in June. And then we're going to grow from there. But I'll get started. This, besides being a husband and a father, this is all I am. I'm just 100% beef. Like, I'm one with my cows, because I make a lot of sandwiches, a lot of tri-tip, a lot of sirloin, and it's a sweet stash. So I'll tell you a funny story to start out with. One of the things I probably wish I could change about myself is maybe a quick temper. And have you guys seen the new Chick-fil-A going in? Whoever likes Chick-fil-A, I love Chick-fil-A. They're going right next to us. Do you guys remember that Teppanyaki or Uchi, whatever there on the corner of Bulldog and State? They just tore it down, and they're building a brand new Chick-fil-A. And that's great for me, because Chick-fil-A demands a lot of business, a lot of cars, more exposure for me in my little strip mall. Because I'm not really in a desire. I'm on Bulldog and State, but where I'm at, probably, a lot of people told me not to go there when I first opened up, because everyone tells you, I mean, if you ever do anything when you're on your own, you'll hear from 1,000 people that location is number one, even though you already know it, but they'll tell you it over and over again. And I'm on Bulldog and State, so that was good, but it is still a strip mall, so it's not the greatest spot. But Chick-fil-A will bring us a lot of extra exposure. For the people that haven't been there, you'll start seeing it because you'll go to Chick-fil-A and check it out. But being an entrepreneur and a small business owner, you have to protect your business. And Chick-fil-A came in, this big, huge corporate company, and we share a parking lot. Me and 5 other locations, stores, 26.2, diabetes center, a coffee shop, a Little Caesars. They started doing construction, and they didn't care about us because they cared about themselves because they were wanting to get open. And so they started digging around, and my landlord sold this land to them. So it was out of his hands now. And they put a huge fence around the area to dig, to tear down this building. And first they put it up, and I went over there and said, hey, just so you guys know, I'm Cubby, I have a small business. They had a little, a big wig meeting underneath his tent before they tore it down. And I brought him some fries and a couple things just to play the nice guy. I said, hey guys, just so you know, hopefully we can coexist while you guys are doing construction, because we want to be able to stay open, whereas small businesses over here. And they're like, yeah, of course, good to meet you, thanks for coming over. 2 days later, they moved the fence all the way. I have parking right in front of my store, and then they eliminated every parking spot except 20 spots in the whole entire, for us 6 stores. I mean, during lunch, we have 100 people in our store. And so it was going to affect me immediately. So I said, this can happen. You guys, what can we do? I called the landlord. He's like, Cubby, I sold that land to him, but I'll call him. So went back and forth. They didn't move the fence. I called the guy the next day. He dropped his information off to me just so I ever needed to get a hold of him. And I called him the next day and said, hey, Randy, hey, man, we got to do something. Like, I'm getting killed here. I'm down 30% the last 3 nights in sales for the day because I have no parking. And the word's getting out that no one wants to come until the construction's over. I say, hey, I'm doing the best I can, man. We'll be done digging and paving in about a month. I'm like, a month? Like, I want to stay open. I don't want to close down. I said, Randy, I played nice at first. I'm like, hey, Randy, you gotta get this thing moved. He's like, well, okay, let me see what I can do. Didn't do anything. So I called him again. I said, hey, Randy, I'm looking at KSL right now. I'm buying 3 cars some junkers. I'm moving the fence, and I'm going to put the cars in front of the fence. Don't move the fence again. The cars are my property, so don't move my cars. And he's like, whoa, Cubby, just settle down. We're taking care of it. I'm like, no, you're not taking care of it. You're just telling me that, and then you keep going on, and I'm losing money every day. He's like, well, don't do that. I'm like, well, I'll tell you this. If you do that, or I started getting, you say things you regret. I said, and I say, I'm gonna torch the fence. And if you move the fence again, I'm gonna torch your building. And he said, wait, what'd you say? I'm like, and you know what I said? I said, I'm gonna torch your building. Don't touch my fence. Don't touch the fence. He's like, the fence is my property. I'm like, well, it's on my property. If you put something in my yard, I can move it. So if you put something on my parking lot, I can move it. And so he got the phone, and I'll read you this text he sent me. It's kind of funny. He said, let me see how good on my phone. Hold on, Randy. Randy's a nice guy. He really is, but it was affecting my business, so I couldn't let it happen. Randy, construction. He said, sorry, you broke up. Can you tell me again what you would like to do? What would you do if the fence was moved? I'm like, come on, man. This is not really old school entrapment. I said that we should hang out sometime. That's what I said to him. So, I mean, it's a funny story. It's great for my family. We laugh at it, and but looking back on it now, this is about 4 months ago. You wish you can change things, or I would approach it a little bit differently. And it worked. I mean, in this case, it worked. The fence did not get moved again after that. And but there's a lot of stress with being an entrepreneur. There's pitfalls. One day you think we got it. People are coming in, our sales are doing well. The next day, no one comes in because maybe the weather's bad or something happens. So it's hard at first. But that risk and that unknown is what's so fun. And that's what gives you the drive. Because if you're passionate about something, you have to go for it. I mean, it was scary, but I'm so glad I am where I am now doing it. This is in Chicago. So when I first started out, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get started. I worked in food from 16 to 26. And then I worked in sports for a little bit, and then I sold real estate, but I wasn't loving what I was doing. Sports was awesome, but they just don't pay enough. And then real estate was good, but I wasn't passionate about it. So I talked to my mom and dad and my wife. My wife all the time said, Cubby, and this is really important, you have to have someone that believes in you, because you have to have your significant other, your parents. If they don't believe in you, it's a lot easier when they do believe in you, because then they instill this faith in you that you can do whatever you want, and you can go for it, and you can be successful. So I go to Chicago. My older brother, Josh, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Josh James here in a lecture series. He's my older brother, and he's an entrepreneur. He owns the company Domo. I don't know if you guys have ever seen billboards for Domo. But I said, Josh, I'm at a crossroad, man. What do I do? What do I do next? I don't know what I want to do. I thought about being a ticket broker because I love sports. I thought about getting back into sports. I applied with the Jazz. And he's like, Cubby, you worked in restaurants for a long time. Why don't you bring beef to Utah? So when we say beef, everyone knows that if you go to Philadelphia, you eat a Philly cheesesteak. But who's been to Chicago and eaten Italian beef? Oh, I have something for you for sure. Okay. Hey, here, man. Anyone else eaten Italian beef in Chicago? A couple there? Mom, you have? Okay, you two come get a hat or shirt after, okay? And if you want one. But it's a unique sandwich, and we grew up eating it, and we loved it, and so I wanted to bring that to Utah. So I started going to Chicago, and I meet with this franchise out there, and they're not really in the western states yet, except Scottsdale, Arizona. And but this is just I'll move to the next slide, but that's the owner of Mr. Beef. Mr. Beef is an icon in Chicago. It's the best Italian beef place in Chicago. It won Food Wars on the Travel Channel. And that's his son and me, and I worked there for a month. Them knowing that I was going to open an Italian beef store in Utah, and I paid them for a recipe, just for the Italian beef recipe, because it was the #1 in Chicago, so it's the #1 in the nation, so I wanted to be able to have that on my plate before I got going, because as much as I love food and working food for a long time, I was more on the server managerial side. I didn't have a great culinary background, but enough to know what was good and what was bad, at least I thought. So from Chicago, BYU in '95, did sports. 4 years ago, I was staying at the crossroad where I didn't know what I wanted to do. My wife and I wrote down a list, like, okay, this is it. Like, we'll start all over. We took a big trip. We did a 6-month trip around the world. It was the most amazing thing you ever could do with your significant other. I mean, before we had kids. But now we're out of, like, we bled ourselves dry. Like, we saved money, did a big trip, came back. I'm like, okay, coach, FBI agent. My dad is a colonel in the Marines, so I always loved military, FBI, government agencies. A geography teacher. I always thought I wanted to be a coach and a teacher. Get back into sports or be a helicopter pilot. And because my dad's a pilot, so I always wanted to be a pilot, I thought, growing up. And but then I was talking to my brother, and he said, yeah, when do you bring beef? And I'm like, dude, I know restaurants. Of course I could do that. And like I said, I always had the confidence that I could do anything, because when your parents tell you that, every parent says you can do whatever you want, but my parents really, really believed it. And so I thought, okay, I guess I'll do whatever I want. Whenever I'm ready, I'll do it. And if I take that risk, if I fail, a big deal. Then I'll go back to real estate or waiting tables to get through the hard times, like whatever we need to do. And then after being then I was in restaurants for 16 to 26. So it's been 8 years since I've been in restaurants. So I really needed to do some homework. And yes, that line is true. Fired. I said my temper, but that's not because of my temper. That's because maybe I wasn't the best employee sometimes. But I started Cubby's because I got fired from every restaurant I worked at. I mean, if you get fired from everywhere you work, the only way you can stay there is if you start your own. So, I mean, mine was like because I didn't shave. I mean, you guys, I got to the honor code today. I'm a BYU student, but I mean, it's mid-back, so it's like, it was hard for me to be BYU, and now I have the long hair, but I can still hide it because I didn't want to get nailed just to come to BYU. I don't know if they can still hit me up for the honor code. So, and it was this one time I took a packet of instant oatmeal at Sundance at 1 in the morning, and I was a manager and whatever. But 4 years at Sundance, but they were just kind of silly things. But it was like, and I led the restaurant, and I loved food, so and after working for someone else for 18 years, like 16 to 34, that's what really I wanted to do. I'm like, why not just try to do my own thing and just go for it, and not having the fear. I mean, fear, of course, it's there, it's prevalent, but unless you go for it and try to conquer your fear, I mean, you'll never know what your boundaries are. I mean, and now, a year and a half ago, we started this, and now we know we're here for good, and we're making it. So it's a lot of fun. And revolutionary versus evolutionary is just, we wanted to be different than everyone else. Sandwiches and salads, Zupa's does sandwich and salads really good. People love that place. There was soup and salad and Orem for a long time, but we wanted to do it a little bit differently. And I wanted every single item to taste like it's the best bite they've ever had. And so me and my crew, when we got together, we do a blind taste test. We had 18 kinds of bacon. And 15? That's good, it's 18. And we did a blind taste test of all the bacon because we wanted the best bacon. And to come to find out, it was 23 cents for each bacon, and it was the most expensive bacon that we tried. But it is what it is. It was the best. We met with 8 different bakers because I wanted a certain bread to be at my store, because this bread was in Chicago, and I really wanted that bread. If you guys eat in our store, you'll see that we do a lot of our things organic and healthy. And when my wife and I were in Chicago for a month. We'd go around, and we wanted to, every beef stand was just a beef stand. It's like a hot dogs and Italian beef, kind of like a guy hangout. And there wasn't anything healthy, there weren't any salads. And so we're like, okay, what can we do to make this different than Chicago? How can we make it better? And luckily, I have a wife that has a really healthy palate, and I eat pretty healthy, so we're like, okay. And we went around, and we saw one place in Chicago had a salad, and it was just like a Subway iceberg salad. I'm not knocking iceberg, because it's my dad's favorite thing in the world, but it's like, iceberg is not super nutritional, and there's nothing in it for you. So we went around and got some ideas, and we thought, okay, let's make this different. Let's make the interiors at least cool for my wife and I. don't know if it's cool for everyone else, but we're like, okay, we'll try to do something different. So do the interior design, but also do the food, and hopefully they complement each other, and hopefully it's a hit. You just don't know. Yeah, so the fear thing again, if you believe in it, you have to go for it. So whoever has an idea, I mean, there's still an idea I still have, and I still haven't seen it. Maybe one of you guys should try to do it. I hated sleeping on hot pillows when I was younger. So I always told my mom I was going to invent a pillow that you can cool, because your head always gets hot. So if you guys want to take that and run with it, go ahead, because I'm not doing it anymore. Oh yeah, so I guess this is with the fast food chains. They all look the same. They all have kind of the same colors, and we just wanted to be different. And we wanted them to come in and not just have one great thing on the menu. You know, we wanted someone to come in the next day and be able to tell them about the next thing on the menu, and not be able to say, oh, well, the tri-tip steak sandwiches are most popular, just get that. But now we can say, there's I don't know. I mean, well, there's one guy, I've been open for 1.5 years. He's been there 300 times. One guy. He's nuts, but I mean, I couldn't do that. It's good, but I don't know if it's that good. You know, it's like 300, and he gets the same thing every time. I don't know if you guys are paleo, like the paleo diet, and it's like big in CrossFit right now, and they don't eat a lot of dairy, so he gets the tri-tip steak salad with no cheese 300 times. He's over 300. That was a couple weeks ago. He keeps track. So, I mean, good for me, bad for him, but I appreciate it. And every once in a while, a Yelp review, someone will say, who uses Yelp? A lot of people. If you guys don't, you guys really should. It is the coolest. If you're ever in a different city, even if you're in Provo, like, I can tell you guys some places like 180 Tacos, Black Sheep, Tortilla Bar, what are some other ones? Oh, Mountain West Burrito, that's been around a little bit. But this is a really good place to eat, but maybe not you might not know about them because they're not a chain. But if you get on Yelp and you type in Provo, Utah, restaurants, the best rated Yelp, I mean, it's individuals that rate these restaurants or anything. It could be a hardware store. And right now, we're the top in Utah County, which is really cool. And it's, and you can be the top with one review and get a 5-star. But we have 123 reviews and we have 4.5 stars. So it's pretty cool, but I've gotten 1 star, and I had lost so much sleep over this 1 star. And you can message the person back. And I'm nice about it. I'm like, hey, what happened? What was a bad experience? And then if they say, I'm like, but one guy's like, well, the quantities aren't big enough. I'm like, what do you compare that to? It's like, if you want quantity, you can go to a lot of places. You can go to McDonald's, but we try to infuse the quantity in the quality, because I use certified Angus beef. I mean, I use organic greens. Like, you're not going to be able to come in and get a $4 burger. It's not possible. You could, but I'll lose money on every burger, and I wouldn't be around long. So it's like, so you have to kind of find that happy medium. You have to know who your audience is, who your demographics are. I didn't know how well we were going to do here in Provo because we're in a college town. I remember how poor I was in college. But there's every once in a while you splurge a little bit and spend $10 instead of $5 for lunch. And that's who we are. Like, the average person spends about $10 a meal. For, that's either a sandwich and a side, or a sandwich and a drink, or with a less expensive sandwich, you can get all 3. But we're not going to get everyone in the door because some people can't appreciate that, and that's fine. But I even went to the point where I rewinded. I have security cameras in my store. I rewinded the cameras to see who the person was that came in and gave that Yelp review because I wanted to know what this person looked like so bad. And I was going to put a picture of them at my store and say the only 1 star, but then I was like, okay, I better stop there. And luckily for us, it's a lot easier to be successful in a restaurant business now than it was 10 years ago, mainly because of social media. I mean, I can't tell you how many times the picture of my cow in my store on the chalkboard I've taken a picture of. If you guys have Instagram, we're at Cubby, Cubbys, no apostrophe. And so many people take a picture of that cow and Instagram and say, hanging out at Cubby's. And a lot of times they won't add us or they won't hashtag us, but I'll find it eventually because someone else will see it and they'll send it to me. But that's how we got known in the beginning. I know we have good food, but it's really a lot easier with social media these days with Facebook and Foursquare and Instagram. And then in the beginning, it's hard to get started. You know, we had a little bit of money saved, so you try to find all your resources. You guys all go to school at BYU. You might have a friend that's a graphic designer. You might have a friend that's an interior designer. Luckily, my wife was all those things. So I used and abused my wife when she had 2 kids, but I was like, she was there to help me, and it was free labor. So we had to. And then we found a friend that had a graphic design background that I used to know in college, and she did our logo for us. And it ended up working out for her because she can use that now because we're growing and we're going to have hopefully a lot of stores down the road. 4 things I wish I could have done differently. Hiring people I know. People always say don't work with people don't work with family. The family aspect I was really worried about. So I didn't tell you initially how I got started, the financial aspect of it. I had a little bit of money saved, but not enough. Restaurants cost a lot of money. My store cost $240,000 to build. I don't have $240,000 sitting around, you can get a loan from a bank, but a lot of it you get tenant improvements. And I got a third of that through the landlord because I signed a 10-year lease, or a 5-year lease, actually. But the other way is I needed an investor, I needed a partner. And so my brother already believed in me, my parents believed in me, so I knew I could try to hit one of them up and say, hey guys, you guys want to risk $100,000, just for fun, see what happens? And so my older brother, being an entrepreneur and knowing he had to go out and get investors, angel investors, or a loan in the beginning, he was my backer and he was my partner. So I've been really lucky for that because it would take me a lot longer to get a loan, get approved for the loan. I'd have to price, and we started small. So I say it was that much, but initially it was 160, and because we only used to have 6. Whoever's been to our store, we had 6 tables, and then after 6 months, we took the space next to us and added 14 more tables. So, but family, I hire a lot of kids in my ward in Alpine, and a lot of times they're your friend because their mom and dad, and then they don't act like an employee. They want to hang out and they don't work as hard, and so it's been. I learned the hard way, but I've hired 7 kids that I've known from a friend or from my ward. My 2 absolute worst employees came from that 7, and then my best employee came from that 7. So I learned from that. Now I let my managers hire everyone. So I'm like, yeah, I'm coming out of Provo. Can I get a job? I'm like, yeah, just come in and apply, talk to one of my managers. And if they're qualified, then great. But if not, I don't have to worry about it and worry about trying to fire them because, one, I was about to fire. I was so close to firing because I couldn't handle it anymore. And I'm good friends with his dad. And he came in and told me, hey, Cubby, I got a job in Salt Lake. And it was it was such a blessing that he was gone. Because I don't want to go down that road and then it'd be weird at church. This guy I know, so being over anxious before. You want to open so bad because you want to make money, but until you're ready. Our menu wasn't perfect yet. The food wasn't perfect yet. My employees weren't perfectly trained yet, but I wanted to open so bad because we kept delaying. But if I would have taken an extra week, it would have been a lot easier in that first month from having 15, 20-minute ticket times or having people turn away because we ran out of French fries. And the other thing, paid too much for my Mr. Beef recipe. I paid way too much for my Mr. Beef recipe because I wanted the best. But I should have been patient because I hired the best. I hired a guy. I was in food for a long time at Sundance and Outback in Provo and Orem, so I knew a lot of people. And I got this guy from Communal and Pizzeria 712. I don't know if any of you guys have eaten there. It's a good place. It's a great place. And he's amazing. It's just, he has the greatest ideas. He takes my ideas and he puts his stamp on it. I'll have a salad idea. He'll come up with a dressing and he'll add roasted red bell peppers. Or he'll add something, roasted almonds instead of walnuts. Like whatever he does, he puts his stamp on it, and he easily could have made that recipe. But it also got me the ball rolling, because since I paid for it, I had to go out there and train for a month. And since I did that, I started everything else, because now I was invested with my time and my money, and I wasn't making money, so I had to get out there. My wife and I got in a car and drove to Chicago and rented a place for a month, and it was a good time, and we learned from it. And then, trusting about employees being honest. I'm an honest person. I think they might know the story, so that's kind of cool, I guess. It's unfunny. It's kind of weird, but I'm an honest person, and I'm very trusting, because I want people to think the same about me and be able to trust me. So I give my employees everything, and until they lose that trust. And I kept seeing, I have 7 cameras in my store, mainly because if I'm not there, I want to be able to check who's eating, just not in the back, in the kitchen or anything. I have one in the kitchen, one in the back of the house kitchen, and then mainly just in the dining area, and in the back, so no one could break in. And Damon, my head guy, kept saying, "Hey, Cubby, we're selling only about 10 mixed berry chicken salads a day, but our strawberries are going like crazy. Like, are you using the strawberries or anything?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" So we put a sign up. I said, and no eating any of the food, because people are grazing here and there while they're working. And then I found out, the employees found out that there's a blind spot in the cameras. So they hide in the blind spot to use their phone or eat food or whatever they want to do. And you learn this. At first I was so relaxed. I'm like, "Hey guys, yeah, you can eat on the clock. I give you a free meal." And I'm like, "Okay, what am I doing? I'm paying these guys to eat. I'm giving them a meal, but then I'm also paying them to hang out and while they eat." So we changed some things, but I kept missing strawberries, and it was just driving me nuts. I'd go count the strawberries, and I'd count how many strawberries go in the salads on average, and we were losing like a 2-pound strawberry case a week. I'm like, "This guy's just killing it." He loves strawberries, I guess. I mean, eat something else. Eat the steak. It's a lot more expensive, but he loves strawberries, and they're organic, so they were kind of expensive. So I told everyone, whoever finds who's eating the strawberries, you get $100. Like, if you want to rat your friend out for $100, then do it, because I wanted to find this strawberry snatcher. and we found him, and a guy got $100, and the other guy was on his way. I hope he ate enough, because. And now he's been calling and asking for his job back. And I'm like, "There's no way, man. Like, I don't know what he'll do next." So my wife and I, and mainly just because we enjoy film. And this movie, a documentary called Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And I want to show you a 2-minute clip at the end if we have time. If not, no big deal. But this guy, it was an independent film, made in Japan, and it's in Japanese. You can watch subtitles, but someone told us about it, so we went and watched it. I mean, he was so amazing. He's in his mid-80s, but he's been a sushi artist since his 20s, and it doesn't matter. Every day he's trying to get a little bit better. And, just honing his craft, finding a better knife to cut the sushi, finding better fish from his suppliers. He gets up every morning and goes to the sushi district, the seafood, fish market. Thank you, Drew. The fish market to get his food, and after watching that, it really opened my eyes and my wife's eyes. Okay, I'm like, man, and that's how I like to be. Like I'm always looking for a better bacon. I'm always looking for a better strawberry. Always looking for better greens or a new bun. So we change things in my store every once in a while, but most likely people appreciate the change, because you never want to get stagnant, because someone's going to pass you up. If I'm just doing this same thing every day, well, then someone else is going to come in and do what I'm doing, but then they're also going to do something else. So like right now we're going to start doing cold pressed juices. It's really big in California. I mean, California's kind of the innovator. I mean, they eat healthier. It's really good food, and so we're going to start doing that, and then we're going to start doing desserts. We're doing breakfast starting in February. So we're always looking for new things to not only leave money on the table, but because we want to make sure our customers know that we're always trying to get better. And I just want to read this quote. It says, "Once you decide on your occupation, you must immerse yourself in your work. You have to fall in love with your work. Never complain about your job. You must dedicate your life to mastering your skill. That's the secret of success. and the key to being regarded honorably. And so, like I said, we're always trying new recipes, always watching our competitors, because we always want to be the best. Okay, and with that is, I guess, my inspiration. I mean, you have to get your inspiration from somewhere, and mine is, and I've taken most of you guys are LDS. I'm LDS. You know, it makes it a lot easier when you have your faith to go to in prayer, and I prayed about everything. I prayed about, was I either going to go at the rundown Pizza Hut in Orem? I don't know if you guys know that, where that Cafeteria is. There used to be a Pizza Hut right in front of it. I was either going to go there or I was going to go here. And I prayed about it. Like, I just didn't, it's not that big of a decision, but I thought it was. Like, I wanted to know where to go. Or just who to hire. And I had a guy, and he called me and said, hey, Cubby, I just got a promotion at Sundance for the purchasing manager. And I lost him 2 months before I opened. I was devastated. 2 months before I was going to Chicago. And then, like, a week later, some guy called me from Pizzeria 712. And he's like, hey, dude, I know a guy. I can give you his number, but you can never tell him how you got his number. I'm like, dude, that's shady, dude. Like, what's going on? And I'm a little bit shady, but I'm not that. I want to know the details, you know? And he's like, okay, well, he's a great guy at Pizzeria 712 in Camino, but he's underpaid and undervalued. And this guy, my friend, is the number 3 guy at Pizzeria 712 in Camino. But I'm really good friends with him. But he's like, you cannot tell numero uno and dos because I'll get in trouble. I'm like, okay, that's fine, I'll call him. And I call him, and he answered the phone. It's an Argentine guy, and he's like, oh, I'm not interested. I'm like, okay, so that's the end of that. He calls me the next day. He's like, well, I was at work, and I would love to talk to you and meet. And my Spanish is not that great. My younger brother is fluent in Spanish, so my little brother and I went to a place and met him and talked to him, and that's how I met him. But I was just praying constantly after my friend Corey left, because the Sundance guy, and I needed to find someone. And I was like, I talked to my wife, my mom and dad, and my mom was like, don't worry about it. It'll work out for the better. I'm like, come on, you can't always tell me that. Like, it's not going to work out for the better. And then, like, really, a couple of days later, that's how it happened. I was driving in the parking lot, and this guy got out of the car, and I haven't seen him for over a year, and it's my friend, the Pizzeria 712 Camille guy. And I said something to him, like, dude, I can't find anyone. And then he called me with this guy. So it was cool how it worked out, and he's amazing. I'm so happy to have Damien. I'm so happy to be LDS and have that in my life, and I'm so happy for my family. Because without my mom and dad, this is a picture of them. They've been home for their mission for a few months now, but they just got back from a Cambodia, Vietnam mission. And, I mean, they're everything to me. They always told me I could do whatever I wanted to. They always supported me. When I was a bad kid when I was younger, they took my side instead of the teacher's side, which is so cool. And it makes you believe that they believe in you and you can do anything because they're always there for you. This is Josh, who hasn't met him before, but when you guys are graduating, you could be looking for a job and you could end up at Domo. And he used to own Armature, and he sold it to Adobe. So he's kind of a big dog in the valley, and he's created a lot of jobs, and he's an awesome guy, and he's my partner, and I couldn't have done it without him on the financial aspect of it, and he motivated me, and he told me, he's like, I was going to do a franchise, or I was going to do, what's it called, my own store. And a franchise makes it a lot easier. You pay them the $30,000, they give you all the recipes, you pay them royalties, you pay them every month, you pay them royalties, but you're set up. Like, you're not going to fail because it's already a successful model. That's in Chicago, so you don't know if it's going to be successful here. But I went and met these guys in Chicago. I said, I want to do a couple stores in Utah. There's 20 stores in Chicago and Indiana. And they're like, well, okay, great. Like, here's my, you had to give me your financials and to see if you're qualified. And then I'm like, well, what if I want to add something like a salad to the menu? He's like, no. Like, this is, because it's like McDonald's, but it's a smaller version. You can't touch their menu. It is how it is. So I met these guys, and I was like, okay, maybe we should do it. And then, like, well, what if I just do my own? Like, I have a lot of ideas about food. And if I hire the right person to help me out, and I had, being in food for 10 years, like, you see a lot of different things, and you see different salads and different sandwiches. I'm like, I know I can do it. And I talked to my brother, Josh, and he's like, Cubby, do you want to have a ceiling on your income? Like, I'm like, I don't need a lot of money, but I really want a ceiling in my income. He's like, well, would you rather take a lot less risk and make maybe $200,000 a year in the end, or $5 million a year? I'm like, trick question, like, and of course the $5 million is way down the road. But he's like, if you have your own, you can do whatever you want. You pay to get started, and then you go from there. But it might fail. But if you fail, who cares? Then go do something else. Go do something in sports. And I'm going to help you on the financial side. So really, what are you risking? I'm like, okay, like easy. And so I'm really grateful for my older brother, because he always believed in me and always thought I could do whatever I wanted. This is part of my team. I have 21 employees in my little Provo store, because we do a lot of catering, and we did a catering job today, and we've catered we catered an Entrepreneur Lecture Series class one time, and some other places in the Marriott School. And the guy in the middle, if you ever see him, the guy in front of me is Damien. Don't ever try to take him from me, because that guy is the best guy in the world. He's helped me to be where I am, and he'll be with me for life. And all my employees, I mean, that's really cool. Like, one thing that's been a lot of fun is I didn't go on a mission. Just wasn't right for me when I was younger, but I always wanted to teach and coach, and I always loved like the youth, the younger kids, and I'm both, like, it's just a lot of fun. So now I get hired all these like 18, 19-year-olds up to 25-year-olds, and I get to hang out with them, hopefully mentor them in some way. I've had one employee quit in a year and a half. And we're a sandwich and salad shop. That's insane. Like, one guy left because he had an internship in St. George. But everyone else, no one's quit. We had to fire 3 people, but they get there, we treat them right. We all have a lot of fun together. I mean, they're not my employees, they're my coworkers. We hang out, we play Thursday night basketball, and like 5 of the guys come. We have a lot of fun, and hopefully I can teach them in some way and inspire them, if it's in a workplace or in the bigger picture. And a lot of them are LDS, a lot of them aren't, but it's just a lot of fun. And we've had four guys, they're freshmen at BOU, 3 guys and 1 girl, and they've gone on mission from our store. So their last day was a couple weeks before, and they've gone on mission. And it's just a lot of fun to be able to see that and be part of that. So hopefully, and I see that's my mission kind of in life, is hopefully helping younger people and inspiring them some way, and leading by example at my store, not just from a work ethic, but a spiritual aspect too. And then my wife, and that's my son. My wife she really works harder at my store than I do. I'm there every day, but she's all behind the scenes, ordering everything, getting the chairs made, working 10 hours a week on just new design. And so I'm pretty lucky for her. And she really does deserve it, though. I just had someone come in there last week, and she's like, who like, conceptually designed your place? Like, I know the food's great, but like, I'm just looking around, and I'm a culinary student at UVU, but I'm also an interior designer for a year. It's like, but whoever did your store is just amazing. I'm like, yeah, it was my wife. And it's like, well, how about this? Oh, that's my wife. How about this? And anything in my store you see is my wife. The food is half my wife. So she definitely is more than me on the store, but I get the credit because everyone in my family made me name my store after my name, because it's a unique name, I guess. But yeah, so it works. But yeah, so that's my wife and my son. That's a little older picture. And I'll end with this. Jiro, if you guys get a chance to watch that show, we're going to try to put it up there just to watch the trailer. But when you go home, just remember, Jiro, go to IMDb or anywhere in Google or movieclips.com. That's my other brother's business, and he's spoken at the Entrepreneur Lecture Series too. So I've had 2 brothers that have spoken at the Entrepreneur Lecture Series. It's Zach James, and he's in California, and he owns a company called Zephyr, and it's an umbrella under movieclips.com. And so, but always look ahead and above yourself. Always try to improve on yourself. Always strive to elevate your craft. And whatever you do, if it's being a mom, if it's being a sushi artist, if it's being an athlete, being an airline pilot, I mean, we always can get better. We just don't want to get stagnant because, first of all, it might become boring if you're not changing. And then if you're not that passionate about it and you don't want to push yourself, then maybe you're not doing the right profession. And it's not too late to switch. I switched professions when I was 27, 33, 34, and now I'm hopefully in this for a while. But I think this is it. Okay, so the last thing. This is the future, what we're planning on doing. So we're building 2 new stores right now. So you also see it, whoever lives north or south. Spanish Fork by the new Costco, Lehigh at the Thanksgiving Point exit, and then my plan, and I'm really gonna, I think it's going to happen. I mean, I've already looked at a lot of different places, but I have 20 stores by end of year 5. Right now I'm at 1.5 years. So that means another 19 stores in 3.5 years. But that's the plan, and we're going to go for it. A lot of it is just kind of bootstrapping, taking the money from what we're making so far and rolling into the next door and negotiating with the landlord to get tenant improvements, and just always keeping it in-house, keeping it with the family. I don't ever want to sell it. I don't want to franchise. That could change later on down the road, but it's kind of fun having your own and having no one telling you what to do. I don't have a boss. I don't have to answer a new one. I don't have to get fired. It's awesome. And then 100 stores by year 10. That was actually more my brother's influence. I'm like, I don't know, Josh, I'd be happy with 5 stores. Like, he's like, no. I was like, if we're doing this, we're going big. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's fine. What do you want to do? He's like, think 100 stores. 100 stores in 5 years. I'm like, 100 stores in 5 years? No, I won't do that. Like, I'd be running around crazy. I already am. But then it's hard because you don't want, in the restaurant business, you don't want to compromise what am I trying to say? I guess the quality of the menu and the items. So you got to go kind of steady and make sure you have the right people in place, the right managers, and that's what we're trying to do right now. So, yeah, but thanks for the time, guys, and I think we're doing a Q&A after this. I'm not sure, and I have some things to give out, some trivia questions, some gift cards. Whoever eats my story might want to hang around because I have a $50 gift card and a couple $20 gift cards. And thanks for listening, and it was a lot of fun. Appreciate the time.